nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Actions taken in closed session. On September 12, 2019, the board in closed session by unanimous vote approved the settlement agreement for employee number 20-0912, a certificated employee effective September 12, 2019. I would like to ask the other board members right now if we would like to move, since we have a lot of people in this room tonight, our discussion and vote on the PLA up on the agenda.
I'm going to move to approve the agenda with two changes. We're going to move 17A PLA to the first action item on the agenda tonight, and we'll move 17E to the last action item. We have an individual that's coming from another meeting, and so that's on the bond refinance.
What about the readmits?
That's on the consent calendar, and we'll get that later. Thank you. Is there a second?
So I have a discussion and a question. I was thinking that maybe we could move the PLA prior to our reports tonight, and we can still discuss and vote according to legal.
Okay.
Do we have to amend the amendment?
I accept your friendly amendment.
I second.
Is that right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we need to approve the agenda with
We just did. So district announcements, 5A.
Dr. Kimball.
Good evening, board members and members of the community. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight it is my pleasure to announce that our own Dr. Matthew Stites, over to my left, wave to the Matt, so they know who you are, is the recipient of the 2019 Administrative Leadership Award by the California Science Teachers Association. His nomination and selection for the award is because of his contributions to science in California and the significant and positive impact he has had on the quality of science teaching and learning. This recognition could not be more deserved. He will be recognized in a luncheon in October. And this is for you tonight. In the midst of a packed house, I would like to take a moment to honor each and every one of you. We know that we have on our calendar a difficult item and significant decisions that weigh very heavily on all of us. You have taken an interest in this item and these items. You have become involved. You have expressed your viewpoints. You have emailed us. You have called us. And you have become very much involved in this matter. We honor your perspectives. We value your input. When we entered the conversation about a project labor agreement, my interest was simply to be transparent about the issue and hear from the public about their hopes and wishes for the future of our school construction projects. Thank you for participating in one or more of the 3 information sessions that led up to this. We know it has taken much time and great energy on the part of many of you. We thank you for being a part of the conversation. We want you to know that at the end of the evening, no matter the outcome, we value you, and we are very glad you're here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations, Matt. Okay, presentation by community members for items not on the agenda. I'm going to remind you that we cannot engage in conversation at this time. You're just coming up to let us know. The alarm will go off when your time is up. So if you're not finished, please hand us the rest of the information or email us the rest of the information. And please don't make me beg you to stop talking. Thank you. So we have Melody Boer.
Kimball and School Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Just a minute.
I have a teacher voice.
Can't
I
hear you
don't
in
need
the
this. Okay. Good evening, Dr. Kimball and School Board of Trustees. Thank you in advance for your time and listening to the concerns of your teachers. My name is Melody Boer-King, and I am currently a kindergarten teacher at Beaumont Elementary. I speak to you both as a teacher and as a taxpayer who happens to live in Beaumont's attendance area. I've been at Beaumont since 2003, but I have been in Vista since 1987. This is my 33rd year of teaching here in Vista, 34 years altogether. And of my 33 years, 29 of those have been as a kindergarten teacher. I am also bilingual, fluent in English and Spanish. I have two concerns to bring before you this evening. First, I am very concerned about the precedence that seems to be occurring as it relates to the current pilot of ELA programs at the elementary level. As a veteran VUSD teacher, I have been through a number of curriculum changes and piloting materials. In this particular instance, there has not been teacher voice. The adoption process was not followed as stated in board policy number 6141. I have never seen this happen during the last 33 years. Second, we are in a budget crisis. Adopting a new curriculum is expensive, as we know from the recent Eureka Math adoption. I'm concerned that if we do go ahead with a new ELA adoption right now, that we may only adopt pieces of a program rather than a complete program. This has happened before, purchasing parts of a program piecemeal and still not having all of the necessary components to implement a program fully. Also, what about the added costs incurred for adequate teacher training that is required with a completely new program? We've had Houghton Mifflin for 18 years. Yes, it needs to be replaced, but let's make sure we do this adoption right. I propose that we postpone the current adoption to allow for teacher voice and to really look at all programs that are available and the best fit for each of our elementary students. We need all board members and Dr. Kimball to speak up and let their voices and opinions be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody. Tess Dickerson.
Tess Dickerson couldn't be here, so I have a statement that she wrote that I will read, and it's very quick. To whom it may concern, I am speaking for Tess Dickerson, and she is a kindergarten teacher also at Beaumont Elementary. She is unable to be at the board meeting here this evening, but would like her voice to be heard. She is very concerned about the recent decisions in regards to piloting a new ELA program. She signed up as a pilot teacher and was given no voice in the process. She was told which programs we would be piloting. Her concern is that this process is very different than the process during the last school year when she piloted the math programs. Teachers were introduced to several programs initially, and collaboratively, they voted on which two to pilot. She said, I was given no voice in this ELA pilot decision. My concern is that with the budget cuts, we should have had the chance to explore additional programs that include pieces of what we already have and use here in VUSD. Thank you for your time and hearing her concerns as a VUSD teacher on this topic. Respectfully, for Tess Dickerson, Beaumont Elementary.
Thank you.
I just need to speak up and say that protocol is not something that we will be following henceforward. Sorry, we were conferring up here about whether that was permissible to allow somebody to stand in for another, and given the crowd, I think we need to have an individual speak for themselves only tonight.
Steve Sanchez.
Hi there. Thank you for your time. I've spoken to the board previously, and I know you have some major decisions pending on the 8-period day, and you've been inundated with things regarding this. I just want to bring one more thing to your attention. As a leader at RBV with our IB program, the leadership there, we have, in exploring this 8-period day and seeing the potential of what it can do for our students, it also makes us realize that we are really concerned about the long-term viability of the program without this. In researching, we're one of only a handful of schools that offer the IB program in San Diego County. Every other one has a 7 or 8 period day to accommodate their students, including La Costa Canyon, who came to our school to observe the IB program, approved it, and then set their schedule to allow their students to be successful. So the big question is, how could we have done it this long, and why do we feel we're at this crossroads? And quite frankly, the demographics at RBD have changed dramatically in the last 10 years. We've lost approximately 40% of our students, and yet the IB program, we are getting as many students through the program now as we ever have, but we're drawing from students who haven't traditionally been part of this program. And so to do that, we are tapping into students, and for them to be part of this program, on Mondays, they have to stay till 6 p.m. Many of them are also in Avid Senior Seminar where they're in class Tuesday until 6 p.m. And we are dealing with students who don't have the ability, some of them need to work. We've lost at least 2 students because they've had to leave the program because they have to work to help their families. We have kids who are in charge of taking care of their siblings. And it's becoming an equity issue. The other factor is that we're talking about students, in order to accommodate their schedule, if they have other extracurricular interests, they've had to go to the junior college or take classes online, which is a tremendous expense. And we're worried about students being able to maintain it. So we've done all we can to keep this program viable, but we are really, really concerned. And we're also excited about the potential of this 8-period day in doubling or tripling the number of students who will take advantage of these unique opportunities that RBD has. As a parent of high school students, the one thing I've really come to understand is this is such a different marketplace that we are in. I see kids go wherever they want to go. And we need it. The IB program is the one unique thing that Vista and RBD have that could actually, if marketed correctly and sold correctly, could actually bring students in. It is a free market system out there, and we are losing students because of this. So I thank you for your time. I know you have a lot of big decisions regarding this issue, and I'm very sympathetic to the constraints, financial constraints that this may lead to, but just for one last moment, wanted to express our concerns about the long-term viability of this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Hour is up. So there's some rules. First of all, please don't make me tell everybody to stop and be quiet and bang my gavel. I beg of you. We have 10 cards for and 10 cards against, and we will alternate them, and each speaker gets 2 minutes.
Please be very respectful with each other. If you don't agree with the comment, please keep it to yourself and inside your head, and please don't verbalize it. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one we're going to start with, which came first for against Christina. Okay, so that would be John J. Aguilar.
How goes it, my friend? That's good, Terry.
Thank you, board members and Superintendent Kimball, for allowing me to address you this evening. My name is John Aguilera. I'm a CVOC member, but I am not representing CVOC tonight. You should have our letter. I'm a former councilman of 8 years. I served on several decision-making boards for the city, including NCTD and SANDAG. I'm a certified financial planner, and I've been in the investment business for 29 years. However, I come to you as a father of 3 whose children have graduated from Vista schools, and 1 is still attending. I also attended Vista schools from K through 12. The temporary classrooms when I attended VHS are still there, and I graduated in 1985. My daughter, who is at VHS, still has classes in those temporary classrooms, and last year her class had to be moved out of those classes so they could be exterminated. My daughter and her classmates were coming home with welts from being bitten by bugs. Your value statements from your website states trust, having confidence that every decision focuses on the best interest of all students, A decision to incorporate a PLA does not in any way give more to our children. It will divert money away from our children to fringe benefits for a union fund. According to the labor unions, the PLA will cost our children $33 million. You were entrusted with the taxpayers' monies in the ballot. You stated use of a project labor agreement is not currently envisioned. In a resolution signed by this board, you said you will promote fair and open competition, and then you restated that a PLA is not envisioned. Which project will be dropped if the PLA passes? The replacement of portable classrooms at Grapevine, Breeze Hill, the restrooms at RBV for staff, or VAPA? Or will more children have to be relocated because of bug bites? Which school and which students will pay the union dues? The voters trusted you last November with their money and vote. Can they trust you to make the right decision tonight? Thank you.
Thank you. Doug Hicks.
Good evening, board. Can I ask my union brothers and sisters to stand so that everybody recognizes who's here tonight? I want to talk about what a PLA means. I impressively underperformed in high school. I mean impressively. I barely graduated. 2 days after I graduated high school, I joined the Carpenters Union. That was 23 years ago. The only way that people like me make it out is through a quality education through the apprenticeship program. The only time in my life I ever made the dean's list was when I was in Palomar College, enrolled through my apprenticeship program. That is it. Most of my friends ended up in college or dead. I was the lucky one who made it through college, but only because I went through an apprenticeship program. The difference between home ownership and being a statistic is an educational opportunity. What does a PLA mean for the students? I got to go full circle. I graduated from high school. 2 days later, I joined the union. 19 years later, I went back and lived most bad students' dream, got to bulldoze my high school and build it back up again for the next generation of students. That's what a PLA represents. It means you can stay in your community. You can improve it for the next generation of students. There is no other mechanism that anyone can come up with that guarantees a local hire initiative like a project labor agreement. For a student to be able to come back and improve their community for the next generation of students, that's what a project labor agreement represents. And when you talk about a quality education, I've had the opportunity to run hundreds of millions of dollars worth of work here in San Diego with a low C average. That kind of education only comes from an institution that's been around hundreds of years. Unions have an institutional dedication to education. They had apprenticeship programs before it was a state mandate. So as an organization, when you're looking at partnering with somebody, please take into account their core values. The core values of education. It wasn't about saving money. It was about giving an opportunity to the next generation. That wasn't a state requirement. It's a core value of who unions are. So please take that into consideration today. Give an opportunity to your students to work back at their own high school in the next 20 years. Thank you.
Lindsay Hester.
Good evening, trusted decision makers. My name is Lindsay Hester. I am a lifelong resident of Vista, a homeowner, a local business owner, and a taxpayer. I am a voting constituent. I am a product of the Vista Unified School District, and as the parent of 2 Lake Dolphins, an advocate for the children of Vista. I'm here on behalf of the parents, students, and other residents of the city you serve to ask that you support the intention of over 60% of the voters who approved Prop LL under the auspice of, quote, all funds for local schools. Your own board policy book reads, the board recognizes that private industry and the schools have a mutual interest in maximizing student achievement. The board shall encourage local business involvement in efforts that support the core mission and goals of the district and promote the well-being of students. Additionally, your own code of ethics, to which you committed when you took the oath of office, reads that you will represent the interests of all people served by this organization, represent and act in the best interests of the entire district, not any one individual or group. Additionally, you took an oath to do nothing to violate the trust of those who elected you, to the board, or of those you serve in the broader community, and not just those who elected you. Supporting a restrictive bidding process for the improvements promised to the citizens of Vista in this proposition that they supported directly contradicts the commitment that you made to serve this community and the intent of Proposition LL. I'm asking you to support a competitive bidding process with a no vote on a project labor agreement. It is in the best interests of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Heidi Dorsey. Heidi Dorsey.
Hello, my name is Heidi Dorsey. I have been a North County resident my whole life, a Vista of 4 years. I have also worked for Vista Unified School District. My children have attended Vista Unified School District. I am a union drywall taper at local Union 619. My husband, a carpenter of local 619. I represent all of the people here tonight voting to implement PLAs. Not that I need to. I want to make 2 points tonight. My first point is pretty big. In the last meeting 2 nights ago, John Franklin, Deputy Mayor, stated that he was paid to vote against PLAs. It's on video. My second point, which is the biggest one and the most important one, that I can educate you on PLAs from a union member. PLAs provide protection for workers from labor organization and compliance organization. Without PLAs, workers are subject to theft and poor safety conditions. And in this case, the union will be there, believe me, to make sure that they aren't.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lindsay Ritchie, and I am mom to a 5th and 2nd grader at Lake Elementary. I have served 4 years on our PTA, 2 of those as president, and I currently serve as a parent representative on the Bond Oversight Committee. I am a 12-year Vista homeowner, taxpayer, and I personally advocated for the passing of Measure LL by sending emails, talking to voters, and standing at busy intersections with signs. Today I'm asking you to vote no on the negotiation of a project labor agreement. The bond language stated that the board did not envision the use of a PLA, and yet here we are, discussing the passage of one, even though your voters were led to believe there would not be one put in place. The San Diego County Taxpayers Association was a named endorser of Measure LL. The SDCTA website states that they support open competition on projects, and that mandatory project labor agreements discourage competition between union and open shop contractors, thereby increasing the likelihood that public agencies will not achieve the most cost-effective arrangement. You accepted their endorsement only to turn around and do the opposite of what they support. A PLA will reduce the pool of workers by as much as 80%. A PLA requires the hiring of a consultant, which could be as much as $3 million over the course of 10 years. What projects are you going to take away from our children? A PLA increases the cost of each project 10 to 50%, which adds up to roughly 24 to 37 million, effectively eliminating entire projects. Again, I ask you, what projects are you going to take away from our children? As a Vista resident, these are not just my tax dollars we're talking about. We are talking about the future of my children's education. Will I need to tell my son, sorry kid, your school won't have the facilities and technology needed to support high quality instruction in math, science, and technology. That's part of your bond language, because the bond money is being used to pay a union consultant. Again, I ask you to vote no on negotiating a PLA, and ask that you vote yes for our children.
Val Mercado.
Good evening, everybody, Honorable Superintendent, board members. My name is Valentin Macedo. I'm the business manager of the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 89, here in San Diego County, representing over 3,100 workers. And I'm just here to tell you that I'm here in support of the PLA, and to also explain the benefits from my lens, our lens, the building trades and its affiliates. Basically, it works. You're going to hear statistics more about how it works than how it doesn't work. You're going to hear statistics about the state mandated legislative programs that work, that are good for non-union workers and union workers. We are not opposed to non-union workers. We are here to better the lives of working people and the working class of California, period. Excellent. I'm here to tell you right now that our training programs are second to none. We do not exceed the prevailing wage requirement. Don't be misled, please. We do not exceed that total package. Some of those trust funds that were mentioned are good for the workers and good for responsible employers. It lowers their tax burden. It gives them a pension. It gives them health benefits that are second to none. We talk about equal to or better. Nobody can beat that. Nobody. You have to be a solid union contractor to be responsible and give somebody a way of life. And I'm here today to stand here with all my brothers and sisters from all the different unions throughout the building trades to tell you that I sit here in support of this PLA, and I ask you, please, do not be misled about what you're going to hear. Research the facts. We have training sites. We just built one over $4 million, and we invite any one of you to our training sites from all different trades. I'm talking about ours, the laborers. Thank you for your time.
John Herrera.
Good evening, Dr. Kimball, members of the board. I'm John Herrera. I'm a disabled American Vietnam combat veteran and a property owner. I had the pleasure of working on the committee for the bond. I was one of 18 or 20 persons. We had a mix of community members, union members, myself being one. I was one of 5 chief stewards for the state of California for SEIE Professional Administrative Union. I am really torn because I sit here before you having to address a question that I have grown up with in Central Texas, and that is civil rights for the brown man, the brown woman. We had our struggles, and among those civil rights struggles were the right to get a quality education. Affluent families have no problems in uprooting and going to charter schools or going on to Harvard or Yale or any other school of their choosing. Poor kids that come out of the fields do not. We worked out of the CTA office, out of the VTA office. Todd Critchlow, who was the union president, was one of the members of the committee. So we were well represented. At no time did we ever mention that we would not ask the voters to pass a bond other than with no PLA. We obligated to take on an additional tax burden, a 30-year burden that we have to pay. And as I mentioned before, I am disabled on a fixed income, but yet our children are that important. We recognize that white flight continues to go on. 68%, 60 to 70% of the student population is brown. What's going to happen when we have to cut 25% of those facilities that were alleged that we told the voters that we and VUSC was going to build for these children? It's going to be another exodus from the white community to charter and private schools in a community who needs it the most.
Your time's up.
Thank you, and I say no on PLA regrettably.
Thank you. Lynn Minor.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Miner, and I am a Marine Corps veteran, a journeyman electrician, and a member of IBEW Local 569. This is Jennifer Wilson, my coworker. She's a Navy veteran, a journeyman electrician, and a fellow 569 sister. And we are both graduates of the IBW 569's apprenticeship program, and we're both here today to speak in support of a project labor agreement. I am a first-generation electrician, and in my 15-year career has included many years of work building the hospitals, power plants, the downtown skyline, and many other projects around San Diego. My family and I support a PLA with Vista Unified because it will provide training opportunities for local men and women who are pursuing careers in the construction industry. This is critical for local workers and their families, and especially for our veterans. Like many veterans, we had transferable skills from our time in the military. All we needed was a chance to continue to develop them. IBW's apprenticeship program was that opportunity for us and for hundreds of other veterans like us looking for the next step in their careers. Project labor agreements create opportunities for veterans connecting highly skilled men and women from the armed forces to promising construction careers. Since 2007, through our National Helmets to Heart Outreach program, there has been a confirmed placement of over 6,000 veterans. Many of them, like me, hold a disabled status. By implementing a PLA, we can make our community stronger by creating jobs with good wages, health care, and retirement benefits, and importantly, on projects like this, apprenticeship training that lay pathways to the middle class for the next generation. Yeah. Investing in local apprentices through a PLA creates a pipeline of reliable, experienced workers with the skills that will help ensure that this and future public projects are delivered on time, on budget, and to the best public benefit, like other major California school districts. I speak from experience and I speak from the heart that when we build schools and create jobs, our families and our communities thrive. Vote yes. Thank you.
Franklin Manuel.
Hello board, thank you guys for having me. My name is Franklin. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a graduate of AGC apprenticeship program. Right now I'm a journeyman laborer at Orion Construction. And I just want to say, first off, I'm against the PLA. Reason being is more so that I feel like others like myself. When I joined the AGC program, there was nothing else for me out here. I worked retail jobs, overnight security jobs, everything. That was when I was 27, 4 years ago. Once I completed my apprenticeship program, I was able to start a career. While still in training, you know, but I was able to start a career, provide for my new family and myself. I would like to say that I take pride in everything that I've done with the AGC as far as everything that I've learned, the opportunity that it has provided, and it's been a very great one. And I just want to say that I don't think that it's fair to cut an entire group of workers who are willing, ready, and anxious to get the job done right and take pride in their work and be respectful of themselves and also the job that we're doing. I just don't think it's fair. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Lee, can I say that, or do I have to attempt the last name?
Thank you. Good evening, President Smithfield, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Kimball. My name is Lee Delgroff. I work for San Diego Unified School District, and this July 28th, San Diego Unified celebrate the 10th year anniversary of our successful partnership with the San Diego Building Trades and Carpenters Unions. Our capital program with the PLA has been a huge success. We've completed 150 projects and expended $2.45 billion, billion with a B, to date under our PLA. We have approximately $720 million of construction work in progress today. And under our project stabilization agreement, we've employed 11,500 workers. The union referrals that you get from the PLA are really a key to achieving the goal to employ local residents from, and in the case of San Diego, we're targeting areas with free and high free and reduced lunch participation. The local building and trades and carpenters unions have referred over 2,500 residents from San Diego Unified to our projects, and they really have been a key to our huge success. Together, we've created over 24,000 job years of employment using the U.S. Department of Transportation methodology. People will say that PLAs cost money, and they disrupt the program. That's not true. Our cumulative change order rate is 2.5%. 2.5% over the program. Since the inception of our program, our total projects are 6.1% under budget. Public confidence in our program is so great, that our voters approved our last bond measure by over 65% of the vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Kimball and esteemed board members. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Danks.
I need to actually keep that up or something. There you go.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Danks. I'm the operations manager of a general engineering company located right here in Vista. We have performed work for the Vista Unified School District and are currently doing work for the city of Vista. Our perspective is one that has worked on both sides of the aisle, on normal projects and on PLA projects. We're here tonight as a vote no for PLAs for a couple of reasons. One, I can tell you that it did increase our cost specifically. You're hearing a lot of statistics about projects and things like that. I'm speaking directly about ours and costs that we passed on to the owner with those increased costs. We also had a reduction in production. That's something else that equals costs. One of the large things is in double paying the benefits. The benefits that are paid to workers on a PLA projects, they do not receive unless they become vested with the union after 5 years. Most of your projects will not go that long. At Orion, also you've heard that the union has fair wages and great training. We also pay prevailing wage and have great training through the AGC, which you've heard. We have medical benefits, we have dental benefits, vision benefits, and many other insurance benefits for our employees. The qualified workers was also something that we found was an issue on our PLA projects. When we place a request for workers, the union then sends workers out to our projects. Those qualified workers are sent out by the unions when you put in that request. And you're being told tonight that local hire will be put on all of your projects. Those decisions will be made by the individual companies that you folks hire, not by the individuals that are here tonight. Please vote no on PLA.
Amanda Leahy.
This is my favorite activity. Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Most of you folks up here at the board know me. My name is Amanda Leahy. I am PTA parliamentarian at Beaubier. I am treasurer at Vista Visions Academy. I'm a huge advocate of Vista Visions Academy, as everybody knows. I also have a student who goes to Beaubier, one of the 4 schools in our district. And I'm here to advocate for the PLAs because I feel like they are working to include the people who go to my school. Someday these folks are going to go and get jobs because most of these folks aren't going to make it, they're not going to go forward to college unless something dramatically changes, which I'm not lying, I'm hoping for that. So I really would like to see the board entertain the idea that the PLAs can be a positive thing for our schools and for our communities. I'm still struggling to understand how they cost more money. Nobody can really give me that information. I've heard a lot of things tossed around, but I haven't seen anything solid. So I really would hope that you guys look at this as something that Beauvier definitely needs. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard for Beauvier to look around and be like, oh, y'all get work done. When's us? Because that's where we are. And honestly, I want somebody who's gonna do a solid job, who's gonna be, who has a union behind them, who has brothers and sisters behind them that care and want the best. So I don't believe non-union companies can't do that. I believe that they just don't typically. So that's what a union force is it makes you do the right thing.
Penny Harrington.
Good evening, Dr. Kimball and board members. Our son is a 2005 graduate of Rancho Buena Vista High School, and we still support the district with our property taxes, as do most of us in this room. I rise this evening in opposition to the adoption of a project labor agreement. Voters and taxpayers who supported the bond did so in good faith that the board would keep its word, as stated in its resolution regarding capital projects, which said, the district will promote fair and open competition for all capital projects funded with bond proceeds, and continued, as stated in the ballot measure resolution, the district does not intend to enter into a project labor agreement for the construction of bond-funded projects. It's well documented that PLAs increase costs from 12 to 18, even as much as 25% in some studies. That increase would likely reduce the number of projects that could be completed with the bond monies, making our children the losers. You bear a fiduciary responsibility to the community, not to union labor. Please keep the good faith of the taxpayers in this district and do not enter into a PLA. If you do, you will help doom future bond measures and more by giving opponents their best talking point. The trustees cannot be trusted to keep their word. Please vote no tonight. Thank you.
Scott Barnett.
Good evening. My name is Scott Barnett, and I'm president of San Diego Taxpayers Advocate, and I'm here tonight in support of the project labor agreement. Some might ask why a lifetime Republican, former executive director of the San Diego Taxpayers Association, former CEO of the Lincoln Club, is supporting a PLA. Simple. It's good for taxpayers, workers, and the community. I first started studying PLAs in the mid-90s as then executive director of the San Diego Taxpayers Association. The study at that time was inconclusive, so we took a neutral position. Sadly, in recent years, the association has taken a more of an ideological position, in my view, not one based on facts. I've personally been involved in over $10 billion of San Diego Unified bonds as a consultant and as a board trustee. Glad to see you have the great Amy Shackelford working for you. I learned a lot about budget when I was on the board, bothered her occasionally. When I was a candidate for San Diego School Board, I told both the building trades and the AGC the same thing. I had serious concerns about the PLAs, but would push for a study after getting elected. And the independent study, which you have, showed that the costs were consistent with non-PLA projects and demonstrated that the projects were of high quality and largely the number of bidders were sufficient to have these costs stay the same. I don't know where the gentleman said that the costs would go up 33 million. The opponents have consistently just said the costs are going to go up X percent. Well, if a bond is poorly managed, the cost can go up. So that is a factor, but it's not because of the PLA. At the end of the day, I believe the decision should be based on evidence, not ideology. And I believe, after studying this many years, the evidence is clear that you should support this project labor agreement. Thank you very much.
John Franklin.